Here.
Still here.
Hi, Blair.
He's here
Hi,
All right,
Sean.
already.
everybody. Happy Halloween in one day. Today we have a very special guest all the way from Arizona. He has a Facebook group with over 22,000 people in it. Am I right? Was that 22,000, Blair?
We just passed 23,000 over the weekend.
23,000. He gets 6 to 12 deals a year from this. Huge stuff. Blair, let's get started here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you got into real estate.
So got licensed about probably 25 years ago when the realtor that I bought my house through, I thought did a really crappy job. So I was like, well, if he can do a crappy job, I can do that too. So then after that, got licensed and struggled the first couple years of my career. And then after that, foreclosures here in Phoenix really took off. So I was fortunate to get involved with that. Not fortunate for foreclosures, but did very well with that, and then struggled again, and then became mostly a prospector, and then hooked up with a coach years ago who told me to start a Facebook group because Zillow and Realtor.com and all those places were going to take off, and we should have our own leads and control our own leads and all that stuff. So started my Facebook group about 4-ish years ago, and here we are.
Is it me or is your mic kind of quiet? Say something again.
I am saying something now.
It's definitely
Okay.
you,
I
Sean.
think you're good. It's definitely me. Okay. There you go. I just turned my volume up. I think we're good. Oh, that's awesome. So you started a Facebook group. Sorry, how many years ago was that, Blair?
About 4.
4 years ago? And it has nothing to do with real estate, you said. Like, what is this group?
So it's a community-based group. So I'm in Phoenix, like you mentioned, and I came up with this like own demographic type area called North Phoenix. So it's sort of something that some people know locally and out of state. So I wanted something that's searchable. So if they go to Facebook, they can type in, North Phoenix and then find it. But really just wanted it to be a community group. So at that time, like I was playing basketball. I wanted to find people to play basketball with. I don't know if you guys have Nextdoor, but Nextdoor is kind of a joke out here. So I didn't like that. So I just wanted my own group to find people to, go to restaurants, restaurant recommendations, whatever. So came up with the name Living North Phoenix. And then it took a while for it to grow. Like the first 300 people were basically other realtor friends of mine locally and nationally, and then it was just stuck, and then after that it took off and grew to where we are now.
So that's awesome. So it's just basically anything going on in your community, right? There's nothing super specific. It can be anything. How do you get deals from this? Like, how are they knowing you're a realtor in it? Like, you're not talking about real estate in there, are you?
So I don't use the group to promote myself almost ever, or at least I try not to, because I've been in and am part of other groups where I was like, I know how realtors can get, and I didn't want that to be in my group. So I will post like listings that I have for sale of group members from the group. But it's not like call me for a showing. It's just like this group member selling their house, that kind of thing. And then I will post data so people are aware of what's going on in the market, but it's not me saying, the market's crashing, you should buy, you should sell now or buy now or whatever. It's just strictly data driven. And it's been really, really interesting from the standpoint that the majority of deals or people that I meet with about real estate from the group are people that direct message me and say, if they're interested in buying or selling, they'll be like, come on over, we've seen your stuff and we want you to sell our house. And normally their listing will go live like within a week or two, because they've trusted me through the data and stuff that I've given them. They've gotten to know me from how I speak in the group, and then I'll meet with them. They don't meet with anyone else. Their house goes on the market, and then they're ready to go. So the like come list me type calls that we all usually look for. It's been very interesting to see the type of responses that we get.
When did you know this was like starting to work like I'm sure it didn't pick up right away, right? Like, did it take a little while for it to get traction and all that? Or were you just getting tons of people joining right away?
So I was stuck at that like 300 mark for a long time. And then I was fortunate to find someone that, just call him an admin, that basically is part of a networking group. And it wasn't meant to be a networking, the Facebook group wasn't meant to be a networking group, but basically he came in, I made him admin. There were no other like requirements on his part to post or engage or whatever. I was like, just invite people, because I was lacking the connection. So he invited people in. We went from, I think we were at like 300 for maybe 6 months to a year. He came in on maybe like a Tuesday. We grew from 300 to 1,000 by within maybe a day or two. And then by that Friday, we were at 3,000. And then after that, steadily took off. And then like the first deal or person that I met with involving real estate was probably, I would say, a year to a year and a half after starting the group. And, you know, as a realtor, if I want to start a group and I hear that, I'm like, well, if it takes a year and a half, why do it? A lot of that was because it's not a real estate based group. It was meant to be a community group, and I started off slowly. But then after that, once I got to the 5,000 mark, that's when I was getting around 6 deals a year. And then once I got to 10 or 15,000, that's when it became 12-ish.
Wow, that's awesome. Are you posting it yourself every single day, like to keep top of mind, or is it kind of taking on a life of its own for people to post into?
So we definitely get a lot of people posting their own stuff. Uh, where I messed up was probably about a year and a half ago. I brought in an admin who was posting all these memes, and it was great because the engagement was awesome and people loved the memes. But then people weren't seeing me. So then my calls that, or messages that people were giving to me or I was getting, they were way down because people forgot who I was and they didn't know who I was. So I still do go in and post a lot, or as much as I can. And I've been told, and I can share the group stats if you want to see it, but I've been told that our engagement is amongst groups very high statistics. So we're at like a 74% engagement rate, which I've been told is pretty amazing.
I think I want to see it.
Okay. I will whip it
Wait,
out.
all right, perfect.
Um, so
It's a
this is the
cute family
group.
photo there.
What's that?
That was a cute family photo there.
Yeah, I'm in it. So this is the group Living North Phoenix. So when I set it up, one of the first rules I set up, and I'll show you the stats, but one of the first rules I set up is my own internal rule that I do not let realtors in. I already said that, yes, when I started the group, I let realtors in because they were my friends and that's all that I had, and I needed to get people in. So then a lot of times when I talk to people about this, especially realtors, they're like, well, why don't you let us in? Number one, it's not necessarily that I'm concerned about someone taking business away from me or whatever. There's enough business to go around, and that's fine. But this is also what I consider my CRM. So, you know, like let's say you guys are using Follow Up Boss. If you want to join the group and I say no, and I give you that reasoning or that logic, if you want to pass on your login information to your CRM, that's fine, and I'll take it and I'll access your CRM just like you can access mine. But very few people want to do that. The second reason, and arguably more important, is most realtors in this type of group only engage when it's to their benefit, which then brings down the group's engagement rate. So I'm trying to keep it as high as possible, so I keep realtors out. So this is the group. As I mentioned earlier, we passed 23,000 over the weekend. So it should be pulling up here in a second. So 23,040. These are the admins and moderators, you can see me here, and then I have a page named the same. The reason I have another profile is I learned the hard way is if you have any group of any size and then Facebook blocks or restricts you or something happens, you are completely shit out of luck. So if you have another profile, you've protected yourself, hopefully, by then having that other profile that can control the same things. The downfall is if I spent 4 years with the original profile, you lose all that traction in the algorithm, but at least you still have access to your group, because God forbid Facebook shuts you down, you're completely screwed, and it's very difficult to get back in. So I have that other profile, which is a personal profile, giving me access to do it. But as far as engagement, so we're at 23,000 members. These are the stats. So basically 17,239 active members. So if you divide that by 23,000, you're at around 72, 73, 74%, somewhere in there. And that's consistently where we maintain stuff around. If you guys are curious, where I also wanted to go with this was, like having a Facebook group is potentially great, like whatever. It should lead to business, whether you do it or not, do the right things. But if Facebook decides to shut your group down, you've put in all that time, energy, and money, you're now without a group. So about a year and a half ago, I wanted to start taking people offline. So now in my membership, when someone wants to join, I don't know if these members will have filled it out, but basically one of my questions is, do you want to drop your email address here to be part of our newsletter? So now I'm trying to get their email address to take them to my newsletter, and then hoping to build that database up. So then if something did happen to my group, I've tried my best to keep as many of those contacts as possible. So
Wait, how are you getting their emails from this?
so in the questions to join the group, I've just
Okay.
created one here. It's not a requirement. So like this one down here chose not to put it. I will still approve it. This one, I'll approve it. It doesn't look like they're a realtor. But one of the things I will click on is these groups and comments. So if they're part of stuff like lab coats or a different group, then I will immediately reject them. But the newsletter that I create is now weekly. It was bi-monthly before, bi-weekly, whatever the term is. And this goes out, it has content, it has stuff to give them a call to action to join the group, and then features something else that I've created, which is a business networking group that I charge for. So trying to monetize the group in all kinds of different ways. So whoever's the featured speaker of that week, they get a spot here, and then they get put here for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, interviewing local businesses. So then I can try to stay in touch with the community there. There is a call to action for real estate that I just added, but it's not always there. So just trying to take people offline to get them into other parts of this segment. So I have the Facebook group, newsletter, and then I created a website called Living North Phoenix that ultimately, hopefully, will be the funnel where everyone goes to get traction there, to get people to looking at stuff. There's not really a mention of real estate necessarily. There might be an occasional, like I said, group members home for sale. But the concern is always there that either Facebook decides to shut me down or Facebook shuts down, and then where is everything? And at least with these entities, I've tried creating spots where people can go and I can still keep them. So if I need to rebuild it, I have it.
That's awesome. So you're basically saying if if you only have one profile attached to this and that gets shut down, you lose complete access to the group.
Yeah. So and it didn't happen to me necessarily, but I know of other admins that it did happen to. So yeah, so I created the second profile here. So if something happens to the profile that I'm currently on, I can still access the group through that. again, the downfall is you lose everything that you've built up. So, you know, if I've posted for 4 years, I'm the leader of the group. Like I have the most, the highest score, or whatever it's called, or points. But yeah, Facebook, last year, for my personal profile, because of a personal post that I had from 4 years prior to that involving something with politics, they restricted my account personally, and then they also restricted my group. And because of that, all of my posts weren't being seen, and it was like it was really freaky. Like if I posted something, no one was responding, no one was seeing it, nothing was happening. So then at that time I created the second profile to give myself a chance to build up more access and a higher rating, and then I created that second one.
Kristen has a question for you. Come on in, Kristen.
I was just gonna ask what your posting schedule is like in the group. Like, are you making sure you post once a day? Are you posting a couple times a day? Or are you just kind of letting the group go do its own thing without a schedule?
So when I started it, it was definitely 3 posts a day. And I mean, there's not really a way to pull them up. I would show you if I could. They were the worst posts that you could imagine. Like, you know, we're in Phoenix, so it's like a post like, you know, it's super hot out there, right, guys? Like it was just to build up having a post as awful as it was. And then as the group started to grow, then it got into posting more stuff that was engaging. And then now it's very random. But I do try to post at least 1 time a day. One of the other rules, internal rules that I set the group up with is that I only allow business posts on Thursday. So no matter what your business is, I start a thread Thursday morning at like 6 in the morning. That's normally scheduled, and you can schedule post in a group just like you can on your own personal stuff. So that way everyone responds in that thread. So the group doesn't become like this of post of businesses that no one wants to see anyway. The reality is very few people see, you know, like if you comment saying you sell parachutes and there's 150 comments, probably no one's going to see it, but it does give everyone a chance to post in that thread Thursdays. But I try to post at least once a day. The group is really my baby, so it ends up probably being 3 to 5 posts a day many times. From a realtor's perspective, one of the most valuable tools you guys could use is reels within a group. It's not always a function everyone has, but I've gotten direct business from posting a reel in the group, and it's just strictly a house property tour. That's not even my listing. I know different areas don't allow you to do that, but it's not me saying like buy this house. It's just strictly property tours, and that's led to multiple closings from that as well.
Awesome.
Are
I
you doing
think,
anything with?
sorry, Noelle has her hand up.
Hey, Blair, are you able to show us an example of some of your posts in your group so that we can get an idea of the sort of stuff you're talking about locally?
Yeah, so lately I have been posting more real estate data. So like this morning, just about an hour ago, I don't have the anonymous posting function turned on. So someone someone called me wanting to do this. So I did it. But that's not, I know that's not what you're looking for. So in April, if all goes as planned, I'm hopefully going to do a community event, you know, like with bouncy houses, a band, food trucks, all that kind of stuff. So like this was a post, also not what you're probably looking for. Some real estate data. There's a local restaurant or soda fountain shop that was like open 60 years ago. So I posted that. Here's a backyard that looks like total crap that I posted. And that got really good engagement. And it's a combination, and obviously we never know what's gonna hit. Like I posted some stuff I thought would be awesome and it completely sucked. But so a bunch of real estate data, more real estate data. the business networking group, the directory for that, real estate data. Facebook has these automated things you can find that just spit out like, some stupid, like, who are you thinking, that kind of garbage. Here's the business thread, had 4,000 reach with 140 comments, which is decent. Not going to say it's the highest. I'm trying to find something that's not real estate related. So like this one, interestingly enough, there was a thread I had, it's probably coming up soon, where someone just asked something about like, is this a bee or a wasp? And people are just ripping on her for like killing bees and not knowing what they are. So I just said, like, a reminder to everyone to be nice, which is dumb that you have to say it.
Welcome
But
to Facebook.
yeah, 5,000 reach, 45 comments. One of the best posts, actually, here's one of the reels, property tour. It's so bad. Like, the quality of the reel is pathetic. It's 30 seconds. It's a total joke, but it does lead to business. I was hoping to find the post that I had. Yeah, it's not coming up. But anyway, there's a local lender who created a group. So my group is Living North Phoenix. They created a group about a year ago called North Phoenix Living. So they used the same words from my group, created their group. And it's Facebook. You can do whatever you want. I don't own it. It's fine. But it was just funny to me. They blocked me from their group, but they were silently stalking my group, and I didn't know it. But I kept getting people reaching out to me saying, why can't we post in that group or your group? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, it got to a point where I realized they have a different group, and I posted about that. And that was actually one of my best engaging posts. Just saying, there's this other group. I gave the group name. I don't care if people went to join or leave my group. Like, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. But it got a ton of engagement. So went to a local, like a beer festival, posted about that. It's really just whatever you come up with. Like I said, to start, the posts were a joke. I used to live in Chicago, so I would post like, did you guys see the Cubs game today? Like, just complete garbage. But over time, and maybe this is garbage too, but I think it's gotten to be better garbage. It'll just be whatever you can come up with that you think will get engagement. Here's that other one. So 7,000 reach, 161 comments, people ripping on me for saying that I'm ripping on them, people saying they can go F off. Like, it was pretty cool to see.
That's hilarious. So for when it comes to local businesses and stuff here, are they allowed to kind of post what they're doing with their business if it's not real estate related, or is that only for the separate group?
Only in that Thursday business thread.
Have you been
So
able to connect with a lot of businesses that way?
What's that?
Have you been able to connect with a lot of businesses that way?
So the connection that I try to have is more, so this is that post from last week, 4,000 reach, 135 comments. I shut it off at the end of Thursday night. It's more directing those people to the business networking group so I can meet them there. It's not necessarily me saying or seeing someone in here that says they're an attorney, and then starting a connection there. It's, have you heard about our networking group? Go to our business page to join it. So like on our website, I have this page, North Phoenix Business Networking, where they can scroll through to find out all the details of it. And if they're interested in joining, fill it out, the form. And then if we have a spot for them, then meeting them there. Otherwise, the businesses that I'm most interested in meeting are probably like restaurants, craft beer places, stuff where there's a bigger social media following in most cases.
That's awesome. How many emails do you think total you've gotten from this group? That's what's really catching my eye here, building my email list with this.
So I started I started getting emails about a year and a half ago. And keep in mind, I don't make it a requirement to join. So I will pull up the exact numbers to show you. And just as a side note, I recently, because I was getting a bunch of people like posting their couches and stuff like that for sale. I also created a buy sell group. So then people can post in there, and trying to direct people if they find this group, because more people might find this group. I want to direct them to my Facebook group, getting their email addresses here as well. But to answer your question,
Wait, so anyone can start a buy sell group on Facebook?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Anyone can just start a buy sell group on Facebook for free?
You can start any kind of group you want on Facebook for free.
I thought they would like prohibit that because they have Facebook Marketplace, right?
No. So this is MailChimp, and my audience for the Facebook group is 2,500. So again, keep in mind, I started this a year and a half ago, so it's not going to be anywhere near 23,000. So 2,500.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
And
So then are
that's
you sending them all real estate stuff once they're on this email list though? Is this all like stats or is it just like Arizona kind of stuff? Like what is it?
this gets this newsletter, which is stuff related to North Phoenix. So like I put together a blog post from a poll that I ran in the group, like where people are from. There's some new pickleball courts opening, a list of haunted houses that were this weekend or whatever. And then our featured speaker from our networking meeting. And also, this is direct people opting in, which is what we're usually always looking for an email list. The list could be higher, like I could add a bunch of people, but these are, and yeah, people still unsubscribe, but these are people that said yes, they want the information. They might not remember what it is when they sign up, but it is a direct opt-in of 2,500.
So they're never getting stats or anything like that. This email list.
From
Like
this
real estate
newsletter,
stats
I
kind of
don't
thing.
share, yeah, I don't share real estate stuff. I don't want to spam them with that.
Okay, so you have a separate list for that kind of stuff or
That's my own database as part of my real estate stuff that gets my real estate related stuff. Yeah.
so everything is just basically providing them value outside of real estate, which ends up getting you more real estate.
And that's exactly my philosophy, is like I don't need to go in the group or anywhere else, not because I'm like special or doing something special. I don't need to say buy a house with me, sell a house with me. I could do it and maybe it would increase numbers, but that's not the vision I had when I started the group, because I don't want to spam the group with that stuff. You guys could still say I'm spamming them by posting all the real estate data, and I respect that, but it's just, in my opinion, giving them data. What they want to do with it is up to them. But this was always designed to be, or is designed to be, a funnel of Facebook group, have the email address, direct them to the newsletter, or if they find me on the web, then I direct them to the Facebook group or newsletter or both. So I have this constant funnel of them getting all of the information. And through that, we're always looking to build, or I shouldn't say we're always looking, but we might be looking to build rapport and trust. This does that to me, or in my eyes, very well. And then they end up wanting to do business with me or not. And either way is okay.
How
So
many
Blair, would you
emails are you sending out weekly?
So it used to be twice a month. I now do it once a week. And this entire list gets that email once a week. And I do change
So
it
this is like a
weekly.
full-time job for you now. You're not prospecting any other way, I'm assuming. This is your main source of prospecting.
This is about 1/4 to a third of my business.
Okay. The rest, what, referrals, stuff like that?
Um, internet leads, referrals.
But you're not doing like door knocking, cold calling, anything like that.
Definitely cold calling. Door knocking is very random.
Okay. Okay. So you're pretty much doing it all.
Yeah, I mean, and it does take up a lot of time, the group does, with all the different things that I do with it. But it's something I enjoy, and I've met some great people through it that aren't just real estate, transaction, because it's not just about the transaction. And I don't mean to sound corny to some people by saying this, but the first year of my group, when it was the member count was really, really low, one of the best things happened, which was someone reaching out to me. They were afraid to post. There was a grandmother, it was Christmas time, and they were like, I'm too embarrassed to post this, but I don't have any money for my grandkids for Christmas, and was wondering if you could post something, seeing if you could get anything for us. And I did. And we ended up getting like $300 or $500 with a bunch of gifts. And she came by, she was crying, she picked up the stuff, and it was just awesome to me that the group came together to raise that stuff for her. And to me, that's what it's all about. So if I don't get a deal from it, I'm okay with it. It's helping the community. But since we've started this webinar, so 3 people have asked to post, and I have everything going through me to approve it. So this is a great example. So like this is some lash artist person that's posting. Didn't follow the rules. She will immediately get declined. You can see that she's got a moderation already because she probably tried posting something else about business. I'm going to ban her from the group. And I do that. And that's what comes up. Doesn't follow the rules. That's what happens. So another business post, luxury private driver, will decline that. This lady is really freaky. We'll decline that. And then
Halloween though, you want freaky.
yeah, not that freaky, Sean. And then here's a trunk or treat thing tomorrow. Approve that. So those are the posts. Some member requests. How many member requests I get daily, I don't remember. If you guys are curious, I don't track that. But just got
Are
3.
you running? Do you have anyone helping you with any of this, or you are moderating every part of it? You don't have
Just me.
anyone, an assistant, nothing?
Just me. I will tell you guys a secret that I found out about 6 months ago, which really, really helped, was I was getting these email addresses, but then like, what do you do? How do you get it to CSV or your database or whatever? Like I didn't know it. So I was literally taking my phone, screenshotting them. And this took up the most amount of time, and then having to type it from there. I don't have a Mac. I don't know how you otherwise could do it, but someone told me about a Chrome extension called Group Leads. Maybe it's a paid membership, I don't remember. And if you have that installed, once I approve this post, it automatically drops that email address to a Google Excel file or whatever it's called, a Google, whatever it's called, Google Sheet. And then that Google Sheet zaps it to MailChimp. So now I don't have to add anyone to MailChimp. So it does it automatically.
Sweet. Does anyone else have any questions right now? I can't see the chat or hands up. Kristen?
And that extension again is
Oh,
called Group Leads, if you guys are ever curious.
Yeah, I just popped it in the chat. Noelle has her hand up, but I'm not sure if it's from before or not.
Noel?
You're muted, Noel.
Dan, you're so quiet today. You just not like Blair?
Can you guys not hear me?
Oh,
Now
I can hear you now.
Oh, so weird. Okay. I know that you said you're doing a lot of content, just adding value to the group with a little sprinkle of real estate. Is that kind of a 75-25? What would you say as far as, because you want to let people know you're in real estate, obviously, but you're really just building rapport, growing your database, adding value, doing all those other things. What would you say your ratio is of your posts in your group? Ish.
it definitely varies. And I would say the past couple weeks, I know this is kind of, this isn't the answer this isn't the answer that's probably going to help you, but I think it depends on the market. So like right now, there's more real estate content because there's so much misinformation out there that I want to let people know exactly what's going on, or in my opinion, what's exactly going on. So sharing that data that I feel is more accurate and relevant to say there's not, 10,000 foreclosures a day, there's like two or something like that. But what I will say is there's a bigger focus, there's a bigger intentional focus on my part to post stuff. And I don't know if I'll be able to find out while we're talking, but like last week or the week before, I had a post about maybe your favorite Italian restaurant. So then I can get everyone to list their favorite Italian restaurant, take that data, and if I can find it, then create a blog post on my website to then share in the newsletter. So yes, it's the same thing, but I'm repurposing it across multiple channels. So like now I have this web post or blog, North Phoenix Italian restaurants, where I personally tallied all the results to say, here's the top 3 or 4 restaurants. One of them happens to be owned by a group member. So last night, like we were messaging each other and he's like, yeah, please come in. I'll give you a free meal. And I was like, oh, that would be awesome, whatever. So trying to create more posts like that to get more people from the group that own businesses to get them engaged, get them exposure. Like the free meal is great, but that's not why I'm doing it. But trying to create more content intentionally from that. Also, maybe like, what's your favorite hike? This morning I did, like, what's your favorite restaurant to eat outside now that the weather's better? Things like that. So I don't know if there's a number. I mean, lately, maybe it's 75% real estate stuff and 25% non, but other times maybe 50-50.
When you're doing your blogs, are you writing them all yourself? Are you taking articles from other places, ChatGPT? What is it?
This is all locally driven content from the group that AI is not involved with. So I sat down, whatever, yesterday morning saying these are the results, and then coming up with some bullshit that I just wrote, like saying, Tutti Sunny came in at #1. I've never been there. Food looks cool, whatever, like just a bunch of garbage. That kind of stuff. It's very rare that I'll use AI for this. For my real estate brand and website, I'll use AI for that.
Which AI are you using? Oh, sorry. Huh?
Sorry, my phone went off.
Kristen, smarten up. I love this idea. Does anyone else have any questions? Blair, do you have anything else to offer the group? This has actually been very, very informative. I'm already thinking of some ideas to start up my own Facebook group now.
So the biggest things that I would suggest to you guys, if you're interested in doing this, is this wasn't the first group I started. The first group I started was a complete disaster. Like I wanted to find something that was relevant to me. So like I mentioned earlier, I used to live in Chicago. So like I was like, I'll create a group from people that live in Phoenix from Chicago. And I started it, but it was like no one was joining, obviously, because it's a stupid idea. So then I wanted to start this one, which I became and was very passionate about because I live in this area. So making sure that you know and understand that it might not happen right away, either creating the group that you feel that there's enough traction in. Then the question becomes like, what do you post? How do you get people to join? You invite your friends, fine. It was myself going into other buy-sell groups. At that time when I started this group, my ideas were completely different. My vision was the same, but my ideas were different. So I was looking for people to join because at that time, that was my biggest goal. Like, how do I get from 3,000 to 5,000. So I was going into other buy sell groups. Someone was selling a couch, and I was like, come to our group and sell your couch. This was long before I had my buy sell group. So then I was getting people to join my group. I got the membership growing. There was more content. And then from there, it was about engagement. How do I get more engagement and all that kind of stuff? But the couple things that I would want you guys to know is absolutely create a second profile. That's massively important. Be very, very careful of what you post in the group to make sure you don't violate Facebook rules. So last year, I posted something like a raffle, which was, I don't know, if you invite 25 people to join the group and you put your email address below, you'll be entered for a drawing for $100 by Friday. Apparently that's against Facebook rules to do that kind of drawing. So Facebook literally put my group on alert. I don't know if I can find it here, like where the setting is or whatever. But basically it said like you're red flag alert, and if you violate a rule again, your group will be banned. So be very careful about what you're posting. Know what the Facebook group rules are, so you can limit your possibility of getting your group taken away, because that was really, really scary to me, and there's no way to fight it or get it back. Just one day they decided to give it back to me, and thank God, because it was really freaky. So definitely create a second profile and have a vision to set it up.
For people starting out in this group or starting out making a group, I noticed like yours is a very broad group. Would you suggest doing a smaller group, maybe starting out, like say you're interested in cars, you can do like a local car group or a local cooking group, or do you think you should go broad? Like Arizona is pretty broad, right?
So I would say it's whatever you're passionate about. If it's cars, you know, that something like cars or cooking will not be focused to your area. So it might be a little bit harder getting more of your local audience, but that doesn't mean someone can't fall in love with cars from Florida. That could be a referral source. I like the idea of community group because it's local and there's more stuff you could do with it. But whatever you're passionate about, and the size of the group doesn't matter. Like, I mean, agents do or lenders do very well with groups that are, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, whatever. I think it's super key to be what you're passionate about, because like I said, that Chicago group I had, even though I liked it and I was passionate, it was a joke. So then I shut it down and I started this one. So I would be very selective of what you start with or create, but understand maybe it's not what you like, and then change it. And you can have multiple groups.
Yeah, I actually saw someone locally here. They did helping out like local restaurants, and they've been cleaning up with business from that, right? So it is a great idea.
Yeah, and that's like part of it too, is this has given me a chance to meet people that I just otherwise wouldn't have known, like the owner of a local brewery. We became really good friends through the group, and I love advertising his place, and he loves giving me as much exposure as possible, or at the worst case, just like having extra beer, like whatever. So it's whoever you can come across. Like, everyone's different. This was what worked for me eventually. It doesn't always happen immediately, and certain realtors will be like, I only want to get business, so then it could be North Phoenix real estate or whatever, and that's okay too. Like, I'm not saying don't have it be a real estate group. My personal approach is I would rather give a ton of what I think is value, and then they do with it what they want. I don't want to go in there and be like, buy through me, sell through me. That's just not who I am.
Fair
I love
enough.
that idea. I love how it's broad, so you just reach everybody no matter what. Even if people are never going to do real estate, they still know your name.
Yeah, and I've had like I've spoken with some SEO people. They're like North Phoenix or moving to North Phoenix is a very uh Googleable, searchable SEO term that I can control. So now I have the North Phoenix part of it. And then hopefully through my website, I can get more people going here and continuing to build that brand, which is all about North Phoenix and have it be a complete entity in of itself.
I love that. So you've got a website, you've got the Facebook group, you've got your email list. Are there any other components to it, or is that mainly the three bits?
Those are the three main ones, but then the business networking group, that's
Right.
one way that I've monetized it.
Yeah.
It's not a huge amount, but it is another way. This community event that I will be doing, there's going to be vendors and booths and people paying me to be there. So that's another way. Last year I tried out a program where people could advertise with me so they could directly be like have their business listed in the newsletter, not organically. I would give them like what's called a pinned post in the group. So they would show up here, which is where everyone sees it when they first log in on desktop at least. And I was charging for that. So that was another way to monetize it. But what I quickly realized was if they were posting themselves, so like if they created this post here, because of Facebook's algorithm, if they don't post regularly, the post doesn't get seen. So they don't get the traction that they're looking for. So then they don't renew. They don't like me. They're not in the group anymore because they're all butthurt, rightfully so or not. So I did away with that. So I am looking for other ways to monetize the group, not from a real estate perspective. How can I get more businesses that want to pay me to be here, or if it ends up being on this website? And honestly, this is the ultimate goal is to have a community-based entity that everyone is aware of. But the next part of that is having this be like Ken Pozek's or Orlando thing. Have it be where everyone knows about North Phoenix, everyone goes to this website, and this is where, you know, maybe like a local hotel wants to advertise with me and they give me a bunch of money or whatever. I'm doing it to create awareness for the community, but through that, am hoping that I end up attracting those businesses to want to advertise in these places.
And then I don't know if you mentioned this before and I missed it, but are you involved with the local Chamber of Commerce in any way to get more eyeballs on this? No?
No, I haven't. That's actually not something I've thought of. Not saying I shouldn't or won't. Just I haven't thought of it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bacon.
That took me a second. I thought you
Um,
called me Megan.
did you just call her Megan?
No, bacon.
Oh, Bacon. Oh, um, when you're monetizing this stuff, does Facebook give you an option to set that up, or do they have to pay you separately? Like, I don't know. I've never really done this. I have no idea.
So the monetized part of it is all me offering to businesses to say, do you want to do this? Here's the cost. It has nothing to do with Facebook.
Okay, so they have to just e-transfer you then. They can't just like sign up and pay through Facebook. There's no option like that. Okay,
Yeah,
that's cool.
and I don't
Um,
know if I would want that either.
Me neither. I wouldn't want that. They'd probably want to cut or something, right? So,
Yeah. So
okay, that's good info.
if I can find it, and if you guys want to see it, so the community event I told you about, I'm just trying to secure a location and date. But as an example, and these aren't like the final numbers, but these are some of the numbers that or cost that I plan to charge. So the event is going to be called Valley Palooza. So like if you just want to have a booth, it's going to be $95. If you want to have a post in the group along with a booth, $295, $495, all that in a video, and then platinum with a pro video. So just figuring out different ways to monetize it. If people pay me, great. If they don't, just an expense that I have to get more people to the event.
We're not paying you for coming on today, so don't get your hopes up.
Well, whatever. The Canadian loonie is down anyway.
Yeah. No, this was actually very great. I learned a lot more than I expected to, just because it's you, Blair, you know? Just kidding. No,
Your
this was really
mortal
great.
enemy.
Yeah, I think this is something we can all learn from, and it's very different than everything we've had on here, right? Like, no one's really talked about Facebook groups, and it's not simple, but it's something so simple you wouldn't, you know what I mean? That we overlook so much. So
So I
great
think
job, Blair.
Thanks. I think the three of you have asked this, Noelle, Kristen, and Sean. So like Beth, I don't know when she joined the group and it doesn't matter, but the organic type of stuff that people ask themselves. So like she just asked 8 minutes ago, I refreshed the screen to see this, someone to dismantle and haul an old shed and then trim a tree. So I'll approve it. And then people are going to respond in there with their own businesses, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. But I don't want just their own post of saying, you know, I'm a tree trimmer or whatever. And that post is probably going to get a ton of engagement, and that continues to help the algorithm for the group.
That's
You know, I
awesome.
joined this group and troll people.
Blair, decline him.
So yeah, I will not let you in.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's it. It's the group's been wonderful. It was never meant to get business. My coach told me to do it to get business, but I still get business from it. I will say this year's probably down just because of the market. So less deals this year. But I still do get business from it.
Well, if you're
Blair,
only
do you
chasing business from this, you might be disappointed because you won't want to do it if you're not getting the business right away, right? This is something that has to be consistent, so you kind of have to be passionate about what you're doing.
100%. And it's the same thing like any prospecting or marketing activity from a realtor perspective. If we only door knock one day and 50 doors and then say door knocking sucks, yeah, it probably will suck. But if you keep at it and have the right passion and vision, like it will come through. Whatever the group is, whatever the whether it's community, cars, cooking, bacon, like whatever, realtors who love bacon, like whatever. It doesn't matter really what it is. It just takes time. And it took time with me, but like that first direct message, and most of the business, I don't remember. Well, I guess out of all the deals that I've gotten from this group, one appointment came from someone like in a thread saying, do you do this? And me saying yes. Every other appointment and deal has always come from direct messaging, or whatever we want to call it. This little button up here to message people. Someone messaging me to say, I want to sell my house, come over. So make sure you're always checking messages. Make sure you're always checking other messages in case you're not connected and Facebook blocks you or whatever. But once that first one happened, I was like, oh my God, like it really works. I'm going to keep doing it. I want to do more of it. I want to post more non-real estate stuff. Or more non-real estate me stuff, saying, you know, again, buy through me, sell through me. And it's been wonderful. The people I've met through it, the deals that I've gotten from it, it's all awesome.
Blair, do you manage that website yourself, the Living North Phoenix? Or I don't know the first thing about building and managing a website, so that feels overwhelming to me, but I love the idea of connecting it specifically to the group.
Totally, yeah. So I did not design this website, but I do manage it now. So any content that goes to it or edits that are made, as crappy as the edits might be, it's all me doing it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And the person I found, I don't know why they were so cheap, but this is on WordPress, which I think is one of the better platforms. I think she charged me like $200 to do it, maybe.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, and along with that, super important to have that, you know, we as realtors, we love the word funnel. To me, this is the funnel. Again, the newsletter, Facebook group, and website, and continuing to have everyone know about all three entities in all spots. So in the Facebook group, making sure, like I will post, have you joined our newsletter? Make sure you subscribe. And you guys can message me on social media afterwards to find out like how to set up the newsletter or how to get people to join or whatever. But I want to make sure people know if you're in the group, I also want you on the website and I want you in the newsletter because I do want them funneling around. And again, it's not real estate focused. I want them knowing about their area. It goes back to my original vision. How can I create this community, which happens to be North Phoenix, so people become more aware of it? And these, 8 blog posts, I think, I'm not going to say they do them great, but like they help do that. Like, what are your favorite Italian restaurants? It's the community speaking. It's not me. A local insurance agent. What are some pickleball courts? Where do your neighbors, a chiropractor, and all this stuff. It's all about the community. And even like the first thing that you see when you scroll down is a burger joint that I interviewed. You don't need to see like the actual video, but it's me interviewing this burger place, which was awesome. It's all about driving traffic to whatever's someone's looking for in the community.
Did you hire a videographer for that, or is that all you?
This one was professionally done, yeah, and I paid for it.
Cool.
And I totally forgot
That's great,
this.
Blair.
And this isn't, I know time's coming up. I'll make this part really quick and shut up. One other ways I've tried monetizing it, and it's not been very effective. If it's coming through on the screen, like I have shirts that say Living North Phoenix, hats and that kind of stuff. Not meant to be a moneymaker. Again, it's just meant to be something where people walk around with a shirt or hat, people see it, they want to join the group. They go to Google, try to find out what it is.
Awesome. Great idea. All right, Blair, give us your social media where we can follow you if we have any questions, and then we'll wrap this up.
So I do have social media channels for Living North Phoenix, but I rarely post to them because it's way too much work and I don't feel like doing it. But otherwise, I think Instagram is probably Blair Ballin Realtor.
Yeah.
Facebook is just my name. Yeah.
Really embarrassed here. I always thought it was balling, but we'll
It's
talk about that
whatever
later.
you want to say, Sean.
You got it. All right, that was awesome, Blair. Actually, very
Yeah.
good stuff.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.